Warning: the following program is a satirical look at Indigenous news, politics, and current events. Long pantses is advised.
Anine, bonjour, and welcome to the Laughing Drum, television so deeply and profoundly Indigenous. Johnny Depp is in talks to play us in an upcoming film. I am your host, Tim Fontaine, and I refuse to shave this thing off my face. We have an exciting show ahead of us tonight. The Red Power panel is here, and they are ready to take the week's news and beat it senseless. This week, the Red Power panel is a man whose mustache is a direct descendant of Louis Riel, Sacha Mark, a comic so deeply Indigenous their jokes count as treaties, Alyssa Black Wolf Kixon, and you've seen her in movies and on TV shows like Letterkenny. She's also got an incredible podcast called Coffee with My Mug. Anya Dio-Horn is back. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
All right, welcome to you all. Let's get down to it. Let's begin with politics and Senator Lynn Beyak, who was suspended without pay from the upper chamber. Beyak posted racist letters to her publicly funded website that called Indigenous people lazy. And that's being nice. That's probably one of the nicest things in those letters. Beyak had refused to take the letters down, saying they were just edgy and opinionated and were there to open a dialogue about the good that happened in residential schools. The Senate, after a year-long probe, finally voted to kick her out temporarily. Red Power panel, what do you think of that?
I feel like Lynn Beyak has made more cameos than Tim Fontaine in this show. I do feel that Lynn Beyak hates more Cree people than the Ojibwe.
That's saying a lot. That's saying a lot.
She's awful.
Alyssa, I'm sure you've thought long and hard about this.
I have, and my edgy and opinionated thoughts would have to be that Lynn Beyak sounds like the sound that you make when you're about to vomit. It's like Beyak.
Like a cat.
Yeah.
Leo?
Well, I'm just shocked that she's only suspended, temporarily suspended. She should have been expelled out there.
Apparently it's very, very hard to get kicked out of the Senate. Like, I think you have to kill somebody on camera inside the Senate, I think, in order to get kicked out. Okay, you answered that, but is it enough just to be suspended? Because I think this suspension only lasts until after the next election. What more should they do?
How about just take away her politic card?
Yeah.
Like you no longer are allowed to
politic anymore.
You cannot politic. You're done. You're out. Try the news.
No. Actually, pretty tiring.
She could have a great show. I think.
Maybe she can work here.
Tonight now with Lynn Beyak. What should the Senate do? What can they do? Other than what they've done.
Run the gauntlet.
Serious. That's what the old senators said in there.
Bring the gauntlet back, yeah.
Or if she thinks residential schools are so great, maybe she can go to one.
I think she should have to do like cultural sensitivity training, but like on the res with our people, and that's I think that's something that just racist people in general should have to do on Turtle Island, but for her specifically, I think that is something that they should implement. They won't.
That sounds like a television show on APTN.
Yes.
Yeah.
Something about contacting people first.
Yeah.
Second season,
Yeah,
Lynn Beyak.
it's just all her in season 2.
That's my pitch. That's my pitch.
But do you think, somebody had asked one of the senators, do you think she's capable of change? At this point in her life.
She refuses. She stands by what she says so hard. Like she's so hardcore about it that I don't know if you can really change somebody like that. Yeah. Can you really?
Like, is it worth the effort even then? Because we always hear that. It's always like, oh, we have to educate them. We have to educate them.
But after a while, it's like, how long can you educate them until your face turns blue? Like, you know what I mean? It's like some people, it's just in one ear, out the other.
Yeah.
Like me.
Yeah. Like you.
For sure, like Tim.
But I don't think the answer is then giving them a platform for them to say problematic things and then get away with it. You know, like I don't think that is good either. So she needs to go away in terms of like her position. But that's what my opinion is. My edgy opinion.
So this took banishment.
Just like old school over here. Like
Rain the gauntlets, banishment.
And then a good pen.
So they waited until I think about a day after she had been expelled in order somebody found her passwords and took the letters down from the site finally. But did you have faith in the Senate before this? Like that they were, because this has been years in the making. I mean, she made comments a long time ago. She posted the letters probably over a year ago, and they just now took action on it.
I feel like the fact that she was even on the Senate, I've never had any type of faith in any type of government body whatsoever, but the Senate, I mean, come on. Like, what does it take to be a part of the Senate? Totally being racist is one of...
You should try
Oops, am I being...
I would love to. That's my retirement plan.
Too edgy and opinionated.
I'm edgy and opinionated. Must be an a-hole.
And racist.
And racist. I'm all of those things, so it should be good. Would you accept a Senate seat if it was offered to you?
Well, it's hard to get fired, so...
But for some people, this must be like winning the lottery. I mean, you can say whatever you want.
I mean, really, what does the Senate even do that has made any difference?
What is it? The House of Sober Second Thought, I think it is?
That's something totally relevant in this day and age. I mean, aside from sober thought, which totally isn't a thing, what do they actually do?
They're supposed to be like the next, they give the final okay, I think, on something. I think
emphasis on supposed to.
Yeah. I mean, things get bogged down in there as well. So do you reform the Senate or you just get rid of it?
Get rid of it.
What?
Totally get rid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's...
Okay. Well, we're going to get rid of this segment right now.
No, don't fire me.
One more outburst like that, and I'm going to ask you all to leave. We've got to take a short break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about how plants and animals are dying out, which is really, really cheery stuff.
Great.
Don't go away.
Order.
Welcome back to The Laughing Drum and television so exquisitely indigenous. A Tribe Called Red remixes each episode. I'm here with the Red Power panel, and we are ready to talk about something that perhaps everyone should be talking about, but apparently isn't. A new report from the United Nations says that around 1 million species of plants and animals are on the verge of extinction. That's nearly half of all animals and plants on this planet. And surprise, surprise, humans are to blame because of things like farming, pollution, and just generally being dicks. Red Power panel, why are you destroying Mother Earth?
That's not how the question was posed. I wasn't prepared for that question. I thought I was just going to blame racism.
And you're vegan, so you're even more to blame.
I care about a lot of animals and species. I care about the orca whales that are going extinct. I care about, the pandas that are going extinct. I care about a lot of endangered things, like Indigenous comedians of the Winnipeg Comedy Fest. I know I did.
A little shade being thrown. Well, whoop-de-frickin' do, though.
No, but pandas are kind of garbage.
We're going to get to expendable animals later on in the show. But how frickin' terrifying is a report like this, and why do you think it's not bigger news?
I think it's horrific.
People are like this. They just don't want to, I just want to go on with my life. Drink out of my water bottle.
This is like the third kind of report, I think, in the past year that is saying the clock is ticking. Within about 15 years, we're screwed.
Great.
And yet, the biggest story the day that this report came out was the royal baby.
Yeah.
So are we just hiding from it, or are we like is that what's going on? I think.
So wait, when the report came out, it was the day that the royal baby was
born.
Oh.
So that was the top story. Well, even that week, really,
That's That's some like omen type stuff. Watch out for the royal baby. I'm just saying. I'm saying all the Kukums have predicted this.
Yeah.
So
The baby's name is Beelzebub.
yeah.
So.
But why do you think people aren't getting the message about this? That's what I find weird. It's like, how many times can you say it?
I think people are getting the message, but people are just like, well, I'm not going to make an individual difference. And you have like millions of people who think that way, who think, well, if I stop doing things that are crappy for the environment, not everybody else is going to stop, so why should I? Like, why should I be that one person? And then you have that thought times millions. We don't think collectively enough. I think all around the world, you don't think collectively enough. So we have a whole bunch of people who are thinking about their individual needs and not thinking that, I might not have an individual future because we're going to destroy the world. It's very, like now. And now the world isn't dead, so I'm just going to keep doing what I do.
Well, I do see like a lot of people making the effort for like at grocery shopping with no plastics and stuff like that, and and bringing their own jars and everything. So there's a little bit of
on that.
Yeah.
I mean, I do sometimes, and then I forget, right? But I wonder what could they do to sort of drive that home? Because I think that's what it is. I think what it is too is there's a bit of blame going on. Like people blame corporations for doing too much, and corporations, maybe not corporations, but people also blame human beings, right? Like we think too many straws. You know what I mean? So I don't know, it just seems like
it's also overwhelming. I think people just get overwhelmed, right? Like there's so many things, like everything, like cars, plastics, everything, and so it's like, where do you even begin, I guess?
My suit is made of whooping cranes.
What?
Like, it's made of whooping cranes. I tried to find as many endangered species as I could to weave into this job. But I don't have a part to play. But how does the media, so the media plays a big part in not getting the word out. Like how could they possibly frame this in a way to wake more people up to say,
well, their
we're all
answer is
dying.
going to Mars. I mean, like, come on now.
They're talking about building, these giant space stations.
I like that. It's like, we're screwed here. Let's just move to Mars.
Go to Mars.
That's honestly how humans think. Well, we're destroying this planet, so.
Well, that's why they came to Turtle Island, because they screwed up Europe.
They're like, ooh, look at all those trees.
It's so much nicer over there.
Mm-hmm.
See, but Mars doesn't even look nice.
Ugh, looks hot.
It's hot. There's no easy out. Okay, what else could the media do? What would scare you enough to actually act on something? Or better yet, what was a time where you saw a media report and you actually made a change in your life?
I think it was when they were reporting on the last rhinoceros I think it was like the white rhino or something, and we got rid of our car.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? I'm actually really surprised by that. I don't know why. I just thought
Tim just has these
I bought a bigger car when that happened. No, but I mean, like even for me, like I don't know what. Maybe plastic bags. I don't know. I have a big bag of reusable bags in my closet.
I think I definitely did that.
Yeah.
I changed to, except then I would always go and I'd be like, oh, I forgot my bags at home. Fine, I'll buy 5 more. Now I have like this insane collection.
See, I don't even buy them. I'm bad. I'll get the plastic bags.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I get the reusable one.
Sasha, have you ever changed anything in your life based on a threatening
article or anything like that? I don't think I like consciously. I don't think anything sticks out. I think that the way my opinions are, they're shaped by the people that are around me and the people that I look to. And I think that's I don't know. Yeah, I'm boring. I'm sorry. That was like the worst laughing drum answer ever.
This is a little. Of all the laughing drum we've done this year, this one is a little more serious.
I don't do that.
Okay, well let's get serious for a moment, Jim.
I'm joking.
Okay.
and take a break. We have to take a short break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about how Trudeau is fixing to exonerate the First Nation chief. Don't go away or you're deeply colonized.
Did you know we got the social medias?
Man, don't lie.
It's true. Like the Laughing Drum on Facebook and follow us on Twitter right now.
The day that promo stops being funny is the day I'm died. Wow. Welcome back to the Laughing Drum and television so utterly Indigenous. Visions have us. I'm here with the Red Power panel, and we are ready to dissect another story. And this one is just as cheery as the last one. Canada is going to exonerate Chief Poundmaker. If you didn't pay attention in school, Poundmaker was wrongly convicted of treason felony in 1885. What happened was that Poundmaker prevented his warriors from attacking soldiers who were retreating from a battle. But instead of praising him as a peacemaker, Canada accused Poundmaker of instigating the fight in the first place. He served a 1-year sentence in prison where he became very ill and he died just 4 months later. But on May 23rd, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau will travel to the Poundmaker Cree Nation in Saskatchewan and will officially exonerate him. Why are you laughing?
Yeah, when you told me about, I was like, "Are you serious? Is this?" Because I was like, I haven't watched the news in a few days or few weeks or something, and I was like, he is really digging, isn't he? I was like, I was not saying that he shouldn't be exonerated or anything. I'm just saying, like, okay, that was out of left field, you know?
Yeah.
Exonerating Poundmaker now doesn't make a difference because the damage has been done. And if you look at the state of Indigenous communities across Turtle Island, that is, one exoneration too late for us to, even reap any of the benefits of that. So it's basically like Harper and his panda, this is just some good, really good PR.
Yeah. Remind me about the panda. Was it? He brought a panda.
He was supposed to meet with one of the chiefs.
Oh no, it was the youth that were walking from up north.
Oh yeah, the youth. Yeah.
He chose instead
and
to go and
then he
greet
went
pandas,
and took a picture with one of the baby pandas at the Ottawa Zoo,
which completely reset the channel and changed history forever.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Sasha, what do you think of exonerations?
I think that Jody Wilson-Raybould will get her justice 100 years after she's passed away, in terms of this is the track record the government is going. Do I think it's important? Yes, I think it's important to have an Indigenous perspective when it comes to talking about history. I think that's important, and I think that should be done throughout. And I don't know if the Prime Minister is that person to do something like that. I don't know. Yeah. So it should just be a collective, understanding of what history is. But I don't know.
Yeah. Is he just trying to change the channel? I mean, you hinted at that. Is this just a channel change from all of the negative press he's been getting about Indigenous people?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
100%.
If he wants to make change, he should, rule that everybody has to be taught who exactly Poundmaker is in schools or something. That's a real change. And the education system or something. Put more Indigenous stuff in there.
Yeah.
Indigenous stuff would really benefit our youth who are going through school. But I agree.
Right, that would be more of a change.
If you want to make a change in the curriculum, where where their minds are still developing. Yeah. That's where real change could be happening. But instead, he's doing something that
people are like, okay.
It's not going to make a difference.
Yeah.
It's not. There is no difference. That difference would have been made when it was happening, and now that it's happened and it's done, and now 100 years later, it's like, well, I'm exonerating him. So reconciliation complete.
As somebody who's worked with the
Photo op.
curriculum, I think that there's also a lot of people, like a lot of things that are taught in that curriculum where, you know, it's not in the curriculum per se, but it's the teachers that teach it. You know, they focus a lot of just like on European tragedies and things like that. But when it comes to Indigenous issues, they're not heavily talked about unless you're in a Native Studies course. And
In high school.
In high school.
Well,
like,
no, but in
that's-
my high school, I went to school in Ganawage, and we were taught everything else. Like when I ended up going to theater school and like would hear about the Queen and like literally all of the, like that history, I was lost. But I learned all about the Indian Act, about all of like our wars and everything. And I feel like the rest of Canada would totally benefit from learning, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Is this a timing issue, though? If he had done this earlier on in his term as Prime Minister, would it be viewed a bit more favorably?
I don't think he would have done it
No?
earlier.
I mean, they did.
So, like, honestly, in the current
the
circumstance-
Chilcotin Chiefs in BC, they exonerated them. They were hung, and he did that earlier on, and that was viewed a bit more favorable. I mean, there was still suspicion, I think, but like, is this timing? Like, if he had not waited until a few months before the election,
Everything's timing when it comes to politics.
Yeah.
Everything's timing. They will twiddle their thumbs, you know, during times of dire need. And then once election time comes around, they're like, oh, we need to exonerate everyone who was executed. Give me a baby. Like, that's the only time you will see a politician, like, you know, making strides in terms of reconciliation. It's always too little too late.
yeah,
Agreed.
reconciliation.
That word.
Reconciliation. Slack. So slack.
But for some people who are possibly not familiar with the depth of Indigenous issues, do you think this could win him some votes in some communities?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do. I think in terms of like that community, I think maybe not.
Because
But
I mean,
think
for them,
that's-
I mean, I think for people in that community, it's meaningful. But I
Yeah.
think for everybody not there, right? But I mean, there's a lot of people that still think that Trudeau is the savior for Indigenous people, right? So
I was harping on this just like 5 minutes ago. I think doing something like that can be meaningful. You know, to say like, I'm exonerating Poundmaker, but here's all the changes that are going to happen in honor of his exoneration.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, you know, like looking at UNDRIP, you know, actually looking at MMIWG, having actual change to follow, you know, doing something like that, I think that could be meaningful. But there's no real action beyond, hey, I'm going to exonerate this guy, and this community is going to love me so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the end of the day, Justin Trudeau is getting that credit for Chief Poundmaker then. It's not Chief Poundmaker that is getting that credit.
Yeah.
And you're getting that accreditation from somebody who's white.
well, that's all the time we have for this program tonight. I exonerate you all from watching. Thanks as always to the crew for making this show happen. Thanks to the Red Power panel for coming out, sharing their deepest and darkest thoughts as they do every week. And thanks to the dozens of you that tune in each week. We'll see you here next Tuesday. Good night.